And I called the name of the guy who's on the check. His name's Tom. I call him, and he answers the phone right away. And I go, "Hey, Tom, it's Phil Brooks." And like, I can hear his teeth start chattering. And he's like, and I was like, "Hey, dude, relax. Listen, I found this check. Here's I'll email the number. Can you reissue me this?" And I'm kind of assuming that maybe you guys are holding my check unless there was something wrong with my mail. Can you resend me my royalty check? He tells me the royalty check is on the desk of Scott Amon, who is their lawyer. And I went, "Well, why?" Because I said, "You can't withhold my money. You know, like, I haven't talked to anybody. Nobody's contacted me. Let me talk to him." "Well, I'll tell him you called." "Okay, what's his phone number?" Get his phone number. And then every day I called Tom and I called the lawyer, and nobody picks up their phone. Nobody returns their phone calls. Nobody responds to my messages. They're not sending me the reissued check. They're not sending me my royalties. So I'm like, okay, so are we just stalemated and then I'm just going to sit on my ass until my contract is up? That's fine, because there was a shitload of fucking money I was leaving on the table, but I didn't care because I was happy and I wasn't stressed out, and they weren't like slinging mud and freaking out, and I wasn't. And I was like, all right, well, maybe it's just, two ships passing in the sea, and that's it. And I'll let them keep that fucking money, even though that's like a lifetime of fucking money to most people. Right. I'll let them keep it because that's what my health and my sanity was worth to me. And then I would get weird butt dials. Like Mark Carano butt dialed me a few times. He would butt text me. I would get like an L or just like that blank text circle, you know what I mean? And then a woman by the name of Jane Geddes butt dialed me. Like, she called me and I was like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, cool. Maybe it's about my checks. I'll let it go to voicemail, see what she says," because that's always what I do. And it's just 7 minutes of dead. I can hear her talking to Mark Carano in like the talent relations room, So I'm like, fuck it. I called her back. "Hey, Jane, it's Phil. I saw that you called. I'm assuming you called about the 2 checks that you guys need to send me." I'm overly nice. I tell her I hope she's good, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I don't hear back from her until like a week later, where she texts me and was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to call you, but I've looked into those checks. I'll get back to you." She never gets back to me. I didn't bother because at this point, I'm talking to the person who I'm supposed to talk to. It's talent relations. She's not calling me. She's not returning. They're not sending me the checks, blah, blah, blah. I have to switch gears here because I'm getting married. I'm planning a honeymoon. Plus, the Hawks are in the fucking playoffs. Like, all hell's breaking loose. And I put that shit on the back burner because I don't care about the money. And I'm more focused on my fucking new life, my wife. I'm working on this honeymoon shit. I'm crossing my fingers that the fucking Hawks can wrap it up so I can go on my honeymoon, 2 days before my wedding, I get a text from Hunter out of the blue. Hasn't talked to me since Cleveland. And he says, "Hey, you got time to talk?" And I'm a little bit pissed off at this because it's the 11th of June, and I said, "I'm a reasonable guy. I've always had time to talk. I've always just been a phone call away. But I'm getting married in 2 days, and I'm going to my honeymoon. How about we talk the day I get home, I'll fucking call you. In the meantime, reissue me that royalty check that I've been asking about for the past 2 months. Send me my royalties that I've been asking about for 2 months. That is reasonable, and then I will talk to you when I get back from my honeymoon." He did not respond to the text. The day of my wedding, I got a FedEx in the mail, and it was my termination papers. I was fired.
You were fired.
I was fired. Yeah. So take that, everyone who says I need to be. I'm a quieter on Twitter.
You're a real quieter.
I was fired.
On your wedding day.
On my wedding day. Very calculated and very deliberate. And as much as I kind of chuckled at it and didn't let it affect my day, I was like, once again, you pushed too fucking far. You pushed the wrong guy. Here's Vince McMahon who wants to hug me goodbye, and he has tears in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, we're family." and he fucking fires me on my wedding day when I was just trying to get, you know, like, and the letter was ridiculous. It was like your contract's terminated. You forfeit all of your royalty rights. You're in breach of contract as of January 27th, which I'm not even a fucking lawyer, and I know you can't claim retro breach. You know what I mean? Like, if I was in breach of contract on January 27th, January 28th, they had to be like, you're in breach of contract. We're not giving you your royalties. And I would have been like, yeah, great, fine. I'm going to go home because I have the staph infection that you refuse to treat and diagnose. Plus, I have this concussion, and I've needed time off for at least a year, and you won't give it to me. So I just kind of laughed at that. There was a big no-compete, specifically naming Ultimate Fighting Championships, which I got a huge kick out of. I was like, all right. Okay, but they're not competition with WWE. But in mine and in Del Rio's no-compete clause, they're like, you can't go to UFC. But they're not our competition at all. Why would they be? No.
Well, because they're going to murder people in the ring.
Yeah, right. So, longer story short, the 15 minutes I had to spare, I called a guy, a vicious lawyer. He's Jewish, and I said, here's the deal. Here's who I am. Here's my story. I'm going on my honeymoon. I'll call you the day I get back. And he was like, great, let's get these motherfuckers. Yeah. And you know, we did. We lawyered up, and we got those motherfuckers. And the only thing I can't talk about is the terms of the settlement. I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying that I got everything I wanted. And then some, you know. So then there's all that shit about the video game, which was dumb of them to advertise me for the video game. Like 2K Sports tweeted at me, do I have your attention now? Well, 2K Sports, do I have your fucking attention now? Thanks for the big fat check. They tried to throw a non-disparagement clause in where both sides wouldn't speak negatively of the other one. And I said, through my lawyer, obviously, I was like, I haven't said a word since I left. I said, you're the motherfuckers who go on television and call me a quitter in my hometown. So if you want to go on television in my hometown and fucking apologize and say that you lied, that I didn't quit, that you fired me on my wedding day, and see how they fucking react, I'll consider signing a non-disparagement clause. But I also had no plans to go on this big anti-WWE tirade. And if anybody out there thinks that that's what this is, it's really not. It's just me telling my story. If there are negative and bitter parts, that's a part of fucking life. And like I said before, I've embraced it. I'm working through it. I'm getting over it. They kept saying, oh, we know your client's going to TNA. We know your client's going to TNA, and the whole platform is going to be fuck WWE and this and this. And my lawyer was like, I'll tell you right now, he's not going to TNA. He absolutely despises professional wrestling, and he wants nothing to do with it. He says he's never going to wrestle again. You know, and they just kept trying to get these little things because, like, as much, you know, they're bullies. They want to, even though they're losing, they want to try to feel like they've won something. So, you know, when you see my stuff on Shop Zone now, it's because they have X amount of merchandise that they've already produced that I'm allowing them to sell. For 10 years of my life, I was illegally listed as an independent contractor, and they were terrified that I was going to go to court and ruin the way they do fucking business. I would like to see them fucking get some sort of a union for the boys and girls. That way I know they're serious about protecting them from concussions and other things. There should be something like that in place, but there's not. They're independent contractors, but they can't work anywhere else. It's just like UFC's not WWE's competition, but you can't go work there for a year after we fire you on your wedding day. You know, I don't like it, you know, and I don't have to fucking like it. Yeah. And I'm out. And I'm super stoked, and I focus on shit that makes me happy. I'm writing comic books. I'm fucking training my ass off, and I'm married, and that's the important shit. You know, but there's always going to be those negative people that are like, oh, you can't do this, oh, you can't do that. I'm sure when Rock left wrestling for fucking Hollywood, everyone's like, yeah, he's going to fall flat on his face, and you know, I get that all the time.
It's going to be hard for you. I'm saying it's good. I mean,
it's a very simple philosophy. You know, like, do the things in life that you want to do, that you're interested in, and don't worry about what anybody else is doing.
And you might win. You might fail. I mean, you might fail at some stuff, and it's just, that's what it's hard. It's going to be under a microscope. But like, I mean, I know you well enough that like, hopefully, just like fuck it, man. You go for whatever you want, do whatever.
Well, there's tons of people that are going to say, and I say it probably 85% of the time, I failed at wrestling. I failed at my goal of the main event of WrestleMania, even though I I've come to terms with it, and I look back on it like, you know, that fucking match with Taker was better than anything on the show, and I had everybody from old Kevin Dunn to Vince being like, "Oh, that was the best match. It should have went on last," you know. And I was just like, "Yeah, I know," you know. So like that's the feather in my cap, you know.
Right.
Didn't want to be like one of these crazy guys who's like, "Fuck WWE," because I'm not. I still have friends who fucking work there. You know, aside from dirt sheets reporting that, oh, Chris Jericho says that CM Punk doesn't talk to his friends from wrestling anymore. No, I don't talk to the guys who have fucking agendas who are trying to ask me what happened so they can fucking report about it on their podcast or blog about it or some stupid shit like that. So if you're out there and I stop talking to you, it's because you had an agenda. You weren't checking in on me because you're fucking concerned about me. You wanted to be like, oh, I spoke to Punk, and you wanted to use our private conversation as some sort of a weird fucking way to grab hits or whatever the fuck you call them.
Well, cool, man. I mean, we covered a lot.
How long was this?
Up there.
Yeah.
Up there.
You going to put it all on there?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right. And I would like to point out one thing. There was a big report about some kid at a Hawks game who wanted a picture with me. And I mean, this made the rounds.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And it's so easy to hear his side of the story. And
and the side of the story is I don't get to see my wife as much as I would like to, and we have fallen into that lame grown-up thing where we do like date night, you know, and we went to a Hawks game. And unfortunately, the 4 other people I took pictures with that night didn't post a big story and email fucking dirt sheets to be like, CM Punk's so cool. That would have been helpful in this situation, but like to set the scene, there's 2 20-minute intermissions in between periods. So like the whistle blows, we run up out of our seat, you're in a human traffic jam. I need a beef sandwich. She needs a hot dog. So we got to go to 2 different fucking places. You know what I mean? And it's like we're getting this stuff. I got a bottle of water and a beef sandwich in my hand, and I'm trying to pull my wallet out, and we're in line to get a fucking hot dog. And the lady's like, the credit card machines are broken. So now, while holding a beef sandwich and a bottle of water in my wallet, we're trying to juggle to see who has cash. And I hear, hey, Phil. And we both look at each other and just start laughing. We're like, yeah, of course this happens right now. You know what I mean? Phil, can I get a picture? There's no please. There's no excuse me. There's no hi, my name is. There's nothing.
Do this for me.
So I do not pay any attention to this person. And we continue to pull our singles together so we can give this lady cash to get a fucking hot dog for my wife to go back to her seats to watch our hockey game. I'm fine with people coming up to me in public. Like I said, literally that night, 4 other people I took pictures with because they were like, hey, excuse me, Punk, I'm a big fan. My name's blah, blah, blah. Human interaction, not, hey, Phil, can I get a picture? Because no, you can't. Because fuck you for being rude. Yeah. That's what you get. You're nice to me, I'm nice to you. You're fucking rude to me, I'm rude to you. And that is the other side of that story.